Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's show, where we are going to look at creating freedom by your own design, ultimately. So, I titled today's show Freedom by Design. And today's show, and I think probably a lot of our shows, we do share a lot of knowledge and reflect on general experiences and things. But ultimately, I would feel that we are discussing how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth. And we refer to your journey quite a lot, Jim, because ultimately that's what you've done. So it's quite a good reference point. And I'm sure you'll agree that it was not done by luck, definitely not done by gambling, and definitely not waiting on somebody else or anybody else to do it for you, if that makes sense.
Maybe a wee bit of risk taking.
Yes,
I did take a few risks in the early days about remortgaging
yeah,
to release cash in order to invest more. So, and then, but I always kept myself within tolerance. So I always had good cash flow. So I would never need to worry. This is interesting because I spoke to someone almost just yesterday
yeah,
about this. And I says, it's so easy for kids nowadays to become so wealthy when they retire in their 50s.
if they start early
Honestly.
enough.
Yeah, honestly. And they had no idea what I was talking about. And I says, let me explain it to you. You can start a child's pension from birth. The government will give the tax on top of your contributions to your children's pension to the basic rate. So in other words, if you put anything up to £2,880, then they will top up to 3,600. So proportionately, if you put in less, they'll top it up with the same proportion. Yeah. So in a 50-year period, you're putting in £144,000. You're putting in over a 50-year period. Remember, it's like, oh my God, I've not got that. Well, you're better with something than nothing, to be honest. The way this works out, but over a 50-year period, if you did that and you managed to do that, 144,000 goes in. The government obviously tops it up. So they top their amount up, and it ends up being 180,000 in total goes in. But you're only putting 144,000 in over 50 years. Remember, that's only like 2,880 quid a year, and the erosion of wealth or money over time means 2,880 in 30 years' time is going to be nothing in comparison to what it is to today. But that's just to give you an example and keep it steady. Imagine what it'd be if you put in more to keep it steady. So let's just say that. If it grows at 10% per annum, your child at 50 years old will have a pension fund, if it grows at 10% per annum, of 4.6 million.
God, that's crazy. I didn't expect you to say such a high figure there.
Yeah, it's only 144 grand you've put in. 4.6 million. And it's compounding wealth. You can go and get a compounding calculator. Just type in compounding interest calculator. And then put 2,880 at the beginning, and put the 10%, put the 50 years, put the contribution, and put it all annually, interest annually, contribution annually, 2,880, hit the button, 4.6 million. That's it.
Yeah.
And that is effectively how easy it is for a child from birth to become a millionaire.
And it is as easy as it sounds.
It is.
As long as you act. Yeah.
It's you're only waiting on time and money to compound over that time. It's so easy to do that. And yet everybody thinks it's difficult, and it's not. Oh, it's going to be difficult to make a lot of money. No, it's no. If you start for your children pretty quick and then you teach them the same mentality, which I've taught my children, then they will be at 50 years old. Oh, I hear you say, you can't retire till you're 67 now. And it's like, that's rubbish. You can take your pension at 57. If you've got a private one.
Yeah.
But you can retire anytime you want if you've got the money. You can retire at 25 if you've got enough money and you've got enough money coming in. It's not age that determines your retirement. It's the money you've got. So the quicker you get, the better.
And that's where the freedom comes in. For people watching and listening, and they might think, well, what do you mean by freedom? And it's that freedom to make choices like not waiting to this exact date to retire, or having a lot more control over your life in terms of what you do. And ultimately, everything's on your terms. you've used an example in previous conversations, Jim, about healthcare and things as well. You might, if you've got enough wealth, you've got that freedom and that choice to have treatment when you choose, because you are in a position to be able to do that rather than sit on an NHS waiting list. Yeah. Now, that's something that's really important as well. Freedom to make your own choices and control over your life. And that's what we're going to discuss today.
Yeah. This is where it comes back to the old adage about most people spend their entire lives working for money.
Yeah.
But they don't actually realize that the wealthy people are building systems to generate the money. Mm-hmm. They're not working for it anymore. They're generating systems that generate money, almost like on a passive income basis. And I'll give you a really good example of that. A musician or a writer goes away and either produces a song, it's going to be a global hit, or they produce a book, a writer, it's going to be a global hit. They've only put all that effort in at the very beginning. They've only done it once. They might have to do some tours now and again to keep it going.
Promotion and stuff.
If they're lucky enough, it might be a hit for the rest of the years. Merry Christmas, everybody. Slade. Classic example, when you think about that. So that's a classic example of writing a hit song, and it will pay you for forever after that in royalties. That's exactly what you're trying to do. That's what wealthy people do. They create systems that will pay them effectively royalties for the rest of their life, all the hard work they've done in the beginning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And these things will continually, if you get it right, will continually produce and provide without you having to be present or working hard all the time. So yeah, and then we think about obviously that's building real wealth. And not like this fantasy wealth that you see on social media and all these flash cars and houses and or even like these kind of overnight success stories and things. You have to be consistent and build real wealth. I mean, what kind of things facilitate that, Jim?
Assets. For me personally, it's property. And property is what generates revenue, because you get rents for that as well. And you obviously have to pay things like your mortgages if you've got them. You've got to pay overheads. You've got to look after the property. You've got to pay repairs and improvements. You've got to pay compliance costs. You've got to pay maybe a letting agent to look after it for you. So there's a lot comes out of it, but hopefully you've got some at the end, plus a wee bit of appreciation. I'm only talking about a wee bit. You're not looking for masses of appreciation every year in property, but if you get a wee bit, then great. But the cash flow is the most important thing. So for me, it's property. For other people, well, for me as well, it's businesses. So if you've got a business and you bring people together, you pay them well, and they produce as a result for that in terms of sales, and your costs are under control, then you can generate a profit. And that's another way of doing it as well. So ownership of business, ownership of assets, generating cash flow, providing leverage through the banks. So in other words, I've maybe got 100,000. The bank's going to give me a 75% loan to value. So 75% loan to value, just grossing it up, would give me access to £400,000 worth of purchasing power, because 75% is 300,000 and 100,000 that I put in. So I've got a 400,000 purchasing power, 75% loan to value to invest possibly in property, maybe to invest in a business. It just depends what you do. So that's leverage, long-term financial freedom.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about, really. It's long-term financial freedom. I actually said to that person the other day, it's like, I am truly free. It's like, wow, I am truly free. Wow.
And what kind of feeling comes with that, Jim? I mean, sometimes do you have to kind of step back and think, do you know I am? And did it make you have a different perspective and mindset?
I think I'm used to it because I expected it.
Because that's what you were always working towards.
Yeah, it's in your goal. So it's the old thing about you almost have to get to the point where you become delusional about what your future is going to be like in the beginning, and everybody looks at you and thinks that guy's crazy, and it's like, but they don't realize that you're actually manifesting that self in your mind. So by the time you get there, now remember, manifestation isn't about sitting going, oh, I wish I could have it, I wish I could have it. It's happening instantaneously. Manifestation's about picturing what you'll be like in 10 years' time, where you'll be in 10 years' time, and then working out a process in order to get to that. what I need to do now in order to get to that in 10 years' time. That's manifestation. That's how it works. So you almost become delusional in the beginning, saying, this is how successful I'm going to be at this. This is how great I'm going to be. And if you get a wee bit towards it, then, hey, quid's in, because you're even better. You're further forward than you were before you started, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's, by the time you get there, just to answer your question about what does it feel like, it just feels normal. But to other people, it's like, you're what? You're retired at 38 years old. How's that possible? Money. That's it. It's the only thing. But some other people go, oh, I'm retired. I'm on the dole. I didn't do anything. I get paid money.
Well, technically, I suppose they could
But that's
say
not the type of retirement I would want, because it's like that's living on the breadline for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so I think it's clear, obviously, there's going to be a lot in this show, and the good thing about us recording it is people could watch it back. But, I mean, if you're watching, grab a notebook and take some notes, because we're going to cover a lot of good things here. What I was thinking about your perspective and your journey and your goals and things, Jim, the way you were thinking is not how normal society thinks. And that's where there's a kind of big lie about wealth and what wealth really is in society nowadays. I think that I'm sure everybody knows somebody that's got a really good income or a really massive salary, but they still stress a lot about money. And, they're driving about in their nice car, they've got their expensive house, they've got all the flash gear. But then behind the scenes,
why?
This is the reason why.
They've spent all their money on their nice car, their expensive house, their designer clothes. Look at what I've got on. Just basic. This is how I've had this for about 5 years or more, maybe 10 years actually. I'll tell a lie. I'm sure I've got it for $3.99. I've got a whole load of them, different colours. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like my jeans. It's like out of Asda's as well, I think. I mean, there's other shops that will sell you them, but they're faded and they're like a tenner for a pair. It's. I don't live some high-profile life. Now I've got to the point where I'd rather have experiences. It's what you remember, and it's what the people around about you remember, rather than actually have something to hold on to. It depreciates when you go. That just doesn't appeal to me. So my income provides for lifestyle, I suppose, but the income that comes in from the property keeps getting invested back in the property.
Yeah.
And because I could live on an income of hundreds of thousands, but what am I going to spend on? Oh, fast cars, big houses. Doesn't do it for me at all.
But then somebody in that position, they trap themselves in that cycle because they need to keep working to facilitate that lifestyle, and they'll never get out of that. That's like the
hamster wheel.
Yeah. Whereas, like yourself, you're saying experiences. I mean, last year you took a month out, travelled about, done a lot of amazing things, and your businesses and everything, your portfolio, all run while you were away doing that.
Yeah. Well, look at January this year. January was in Spain at my house.
Yeah.
February was in Sharm el Sheikh. We were diving. I was diving with the kids.
Yeah.
March. I'm not really sure what I did in March.
You went back out to your place in March.
I did. There you go. You know more than me. I think I did actually. I did. I went in January to sell it, and I went, I'm not selling it, and I stayed there. And I went back out in March. April was London because I wanted to do the London Marathon, so we did that. But that was Sharm el Sheikh, April, I think it was, just before then. Might have been. Can't remember. There they're now back for Gran Canaria. Decided to go there, and I've actually booked for next month. I'm going diving with the kids in Malta.
Oh, that'll be good.
It was Scott's changing jobs. He's got a bit in between. He goes, you fancy going on holiday somewhere? I goes, let's go to Malta and let's go diving. There's brilliant wrecks out there. And then August is booked already for Rhodes for diving with the kids again.
Yeah.
And Rhodes.
And you have the freedom to do that whenever you choose.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what's, when you think about it, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't need to have anything. I wouldn't need to do anything, and I would still have money coming in now to live within what I'm doing. It's fine with me. Yeah. And the assets will still appreciate in value, and the wealth will still grow because I don't spend beyond my means.
And that's where normal society most of the time get it wrong, because they think about working and income does not create wealth. you know, your day-to-day job. And that's where people get it wrong. And I think society teaches you, you know, to earn money and your problems will disappear. But what usually happens is the income, as it goes up, the lifestyle goes up alongside it. And then you end up with a bigger house and and more subscriptions and more debt and then added pressure of all that. And like you say, you're on that wheel. And it's very difficult to get off that if you find yourself in that position.
Yeah, especially if you've got inherent monthly costs. For example, your car, which you're committed to the next 4 years or something. So you've got to pay it every single month whether you like it. Your mortgage, you've got to pay every single month for the next 20 years or 30 years, maybe some people 40 years now. So these are all different things that you've got.
So it's financial.
I'm not a big fan of ongoing commitments. I don't like them at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Financial dependency kind of dressed up as being successful. That's what a lot of people... Yeah. And what we want to talk about is the real wealth and where your income continues even when you stop being involved in the process. Do you know, whether it's like you say, Jim, if you're running a business, can your business actually run without you being there for a couple of weeks or a month? And making money while you sleep, that's your favourite thing, Jim. Or while you're on holiday. Yeah.
Imagine going to bed at night and getting up in the morning and you're actually wealthier in the morning than you were just because you were sleeping. Grow Rich While You Sleep, Napoleon Hill. Brilliant book.
Yeah. Yeah. And then ultimately as well, spending time with family and things like you spoke about, Jim, you can't put a price on that, but money enables you to do that at a much more flexible and free to do it at your own choice without having restrictions. And that's where the money comes in. And that's where it's such a powerful thing to have assets. So I think it's important that we talk about assets themselves, because a lot of people still might be unsure what is an asset, exactly what they are. So
your house isn't an asset, by the way. Your own house that you live in. We'll explain this in a minute.
Yeah, your own home's not an asset. But yeah, what is an asset? How do you start building them? I broke this down into 3 kind of different segments so we could go through them. And I thought it was quite good to do that. So the foundations, I think, of what actual wealth are, and we start with obviously income generation, and I think we're just saying income's not wealth, but you still need to start with the income. Every journey starts with income, and you need to kind of fuel that before you could build that engine to generate wealth. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like a car. The car is getting you from A to B, but you need the fuel in it in order to actually get you from A to B. So yes, you're absolutely right. The fuel, your income is your fuel. That's what helps you build assets. Listen, let me just explain. I built everything while I was employed by someone else. I am a big fan of that. I've just explained to you what you do with your children when they're born. It's like put them in pension straight away. You know, put what you can in every single month. Eventually it'll go over to them and they'll put what they can in every single month. And they could just continue to do anything they want. They could just work for someone if they want to. They can just leave their job and they can go somewhere else. They would never need to worry about what's coming in retirement because you've built a huge success in terms of just contributing to their pension. That's it. That's the easiest way of doing this. Oh my God, if I'd known that in the beginning, I wouldn't have done this. If I'd known that you were meant to do that in the beginning, and my dad had known this, my mum and dad, they would have started a pension from birth. And I would be sitting here going, I really did nothing for this. I never made any effort at all. All I did was put money away every single month in a pension. My mum and dad started it 50 years ago. That's all I'd be doing. That's how easy that is for people right now to do for their children. And they just don't. I don't think most people know about that and how they can do that. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with employment, as I said, because I was employed most of my adult life. A job can become a launch pad to your financial freedom. Your job provides your living. It's what you do outside of that with your investments that provides your lifestyle later on. So that's the launch pad. If you can use it strategically. The problem is not earning money. The problem is spending. That is the problem. Everything you earn. For most people, they want the big house. They want the fancy car. It's like, I will forgo the fancy car to just get a second-hand one. It costs next to nothing. And I will run about in that. And I will take that money I would have spent on my fancy car and invest that in a fund.
Quite a common thing you hear a lot with people is when they get their salary at the end of the month, and it's like, oh, it's all gone. Do you know, within a week, it's gone. And it's like, so
where's the month at the end of the money?
Yes. So you should really have some set aside to go straight into, you know, saving for investment, and then that's
A job gives you security.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kid yourself. Working for yourself is less security. Trust me. Because there's no one to cover for your holidays, and you don't get paid when you're on holiday because you're paid on your job for ability to perform when you're self-employed, unless you've got people working for you. That's now a business, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on your own, a self-employed person, it's like, I've got my freedom. It's like, no, you've no, because you can't have your freedom, your time freedom, and your financial freedom at the same time, because your business relies on your ability to perform. You've then got no security in a business, in a single unit business, just working yourself. You've basically got an unsecured job. You're more secure working in a normal job, building your skill set, making yourself more valuable by learning over time and becoming better at what you do. That then adds value to you, and therefore that's how you get salary rises, because you're adding value to your business, the people that you're working for. That's how I did it. And every salary rise I got, I then invested more in my side hustle, which was investments in property and investments in, and actually I had a couple of endowments as well at the same time, which was from my house, and we no longer needed them, but we kept them on just to run them on. So we kept doing that as well. So that's the sort of things you want to do. So earning in a job's fine. That's a really good one for me. I would advocate that every single time for the majority of people, because the majority of people aren't self-employed business people. They don't want to take these risks. They're very low risk, and that is a very low risk way of actually doing it. Just probably in a UK equities fund, and for 50 years with a reputable business, and make sure it's got low cost admin fees on it. So anything up to probably 1.5% at most. So normally I've got what you call a stakeholders pension. Now I've drawn it down. I've still got access to certain things, but I'm sitting at admin cost of 0.75 a year.
Right.
So that's the sort of thing where I would say. And then when you start to do that, your foundation 2, so you've got foundation 1 of income, you've got your foundation 2, which is asset acquisition.
Yeah. And that's when you start to use this income that you've built up to then start purchasing assets that are going to, you know, begin to pay you over and over without you have it, because you could still work your job while these assets are working. Property is what we're going to probably refer to mostly in this conversation.
This is where the tortoise ends up overtaking the hare.
Mm-hmm.
Because the tortoise has been slowly building that income and investments, and the hare's going, yeah, I'm running faster than you, but the tortoise goes, I'm overtaking you now. And the hare's going, what have you done? And it's like, I've been investing for the last 10 years. They'll never catch up now. Whoever that, I mean, I'm metaphorically tortoise. They're not against anybody else really, but that's this is you, just as in, I'm going to spend all my money and all the rest of it. And this is you as the tortoise, and you as the tortoise actually begins to overtake you as the hare later on, if that makes sense for everybody.
So they're quick out the trap and doing all these things initially, whereas you held back, and then later on in life you find yourself in a position where you've got the freedom to buy things, do things, and spend time.
Yeah.
Whereas they're then restricted because they're still in that same cycle.
Here's a good one. I'm just back for Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
And I was just saying to Elaine the other night, I says, remember when we never used to go on holiday and we used to save and spend and we used to invest? We used to take our money and invest. And when we saw all the people from your work go to this place where we are at Gran Canaria in these hotels.
Yeah.
I says, do you think we're probably better off than them now?
Definitely.
Yeah, there you go. So we forgo all that in the beginning, because we used to sit there and go, oh yeah, boy, they're going on holidays at £4,000 and £5,000. It's like, my God, I would rather take that and put that into buying assets to produce income for me at that time. So we're talking about maybe about 30 years ago when we used to see that. We used to watch all our friends go on these holidays to where we went. Now, Gran Canaria for me was just like somebody else going away for a weekend. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll just go there. That's it. And then same with Malta. Oh, we'll just go there. Oh, same with Rhodes. We'll just go there. And I'm thinking about, maybe I should go back to Nashville and Memphis this year. And that's the sort of thing, that's the great thing that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about assets. You did say, obviously, be careful with a business that you're not creating a business as opposed to your job and then just giving yourself another job. You could build a business while you still work. Property is a good one. Do you know, if you've got a property portfolio and you've got an agent looking after it and they're doing all the legwork and you're seeing the income, you're effectively building a business, and it operates without you being involved to a great degree. Obviously, I mean, you still dip into your portfolio and make sure everything's running, Jim, for what, half an hour a month or something? You check in with the team
once a month. Actually, we were quite surprised. It was like it was all finished in about 20 minutes. It's like, really, 20 minutes a month I'm working
just to make sure everything's ticking over.
That's weird. To think you only need to work 20 minutes a month.
But ultimately, that was the goal.
So, and there's other things as well as rental property. There's digital products, you know, some, and you could look for yourself. There's content as well. There's software. You can get involved in that. Depends what industry you're involved in. You want to be the best in whatever that is. So you don't want to dabble in every one of them. Because it's like, oh, AI, oh, property, oh, it's like jump from place to place. A rolling stone gathers no moss, and you know, that'll no build any wealth for you. That'll just create a lot of friction, a lot of hassle, starting from the beginning. You're effectively trying to build 6 houses at the same time, doing that way, instead of actually just focusing on building one house and getting in it, and then go and build the next house, and then go and build the next house, and then go and build the next house. Whereas 6 at a time takes huge amount of resources and effort and expertise to do that. So in anything, that's just an analogy again, as I said. But intellectual property, maybe licensing deals, maybe you've got something that somebody you'd want to license to them. That's really good. That each one of them becomes a machine. I mean, you see the licensing deals about when people go on Dragon's Den. Immediately, the dragon usually goes, well, that's a really good product. You got a patent on that. I wouldn't make it. I would actually just go to one of the biggest manufacturers, who is X, and I would license it to them and just take a royalty for every single one.
Just get them to roll it out and then continually take the. Because you see a lot of people do like affiliate marketing, and then, like you said, create things and then get them distributed, and then they get a payout every time they're sold.
Absolutely. You know who did that in the beginning? Dyson.
All right, okay.
And every single person, Hoover, Electrolux, told him to get lost with the bagless Hoover.
Really?
Yes. I remember it. He was on Tomorrow's World years and years ago, and he said, no one is going to touch me. No one wants to do it. Hoover, Electrolux, all these all these companies with actual. I mean, it was called the Hoover because Hoover actually was the people that actually were the mainstream inventors of it. But he introduced the bagless one, the bagless concept, the Dyson Cyclone, and none of them wanted to license it from him. So he thought, I'm just going to have to make it myself. That's how this empire. That's how that empire was created. Imagine if they had just licensed it. Where would Dyson be now? Nowhere. You wouldn't even know Dyson. It'd be licensed.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So his what would be deemed at that time failure of being able to get somebody to do it was his greatest success.
Was his making, yeah. And then you eventually, through time, if you're building these things and you are working, eventually it will kind of start to then replace your salary, and you'll get to that tipping point where you could then probably walk away from your job and have all these things running. And then that's when you get to a different level and a different place. And it brings us into the third foundation, which is ownership, where ownership really, that's when your wealth starts to kind of explode. Do you remember your tipping point, Jim?
Yeah, I got to about 45 properties, I think it was. And I was at ASA Macintosh as a financial controller, and then part of the management team. And eventually what happened, I knew I had enough income every single time coming in for some reason, but it took me about 3 years to understand that I could actually physically retire. So I was 35 when I realized that, yeah, I've got the means to retire, to walk away now. But I just felt really uncomfortable with the fact of walking away from a job and thinking I never need to work again for the rest of my life.
Is that because it's indoctored in everybody?
Yeah.
That's what you're
Because it's
supposed
like,
to do.
I don't know anybody else that's done that.
Mhm.
It's like, this is weird. It's like, I don't know anybody. And I felt really uncomfortable about it. And because I thought, what will I do next then? It's like, so it really did take another 3 years for me to actually get to the point where I thought, yeah, okay, I'm just going to do it. And it was more born out of frustration that I was beginning to do something I didn't like anymore.
Mhm.
I mean, I loved industry and I loved what it did, but if you had the chance to walk away from whatever you're doing right now and you had unlimited money, and you never need to worry about that ever again, about your income or your lifestyle, then would you continue to do your job? And so for some people, we'd say absolutely,
Mhm.
but I would probably disagree after a period of time, because there'll be the times
There's a
when the
certain
boss
point. There's a certain
There'll be the
level for
times when the
everybody.
boss gets on at you, or you have to do something you don't want to do, or you're having to work late, or you're having to get up in the mornings early, or you're having to travel to another country or destination on behalf of the company, and then it now becomes a chore rather than actually
Mhm.
something exciting, because
Yeah.
you don't need to do this anymore.
I would imagine there's a point for everybody, I suppose.
Well, understand that you've got to do it. So what your mind plays tricks on you. What it does is it's like, if you've got to do it when you get up early in the morning because you've got to go and get the plane at maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got to travel to the airport and all the rest of it. You just ignore the fact that you've got to do it because you know you've got to do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But then when you start to be able to have a choice if you need to do that or no, this is like when you get up in the morning, it's like, am I an idiot or something? It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I continuing to do this? And that's the mentality that comes across you when you start to get that. So people that win the lottery and stuff like that and win all these millions, I mean, they will probably stay their job for a while, but eventually it comes to the point where it becomes annoying. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, when you get one need fulfilled, it passes to the next one, the next one, the next one, and you don't necessarily want the other needs anymore because they're now fulfilled.
But at the time, they were important.
Yeah. So your desire to earn in order to have a lifestyle or income to have a lifestyle, it's like, well, why do I need it anymore? Because I've got more income,
Mhm.
and it generates whether I work or not. So why would I want to spend? And then when you get older, the finite of your life then comes into play as well. Because it's like when you start to see somebody dropping down and like popping their clogs, if
Yeah.
that's a better way of saying it. And it's like, and you go to their funeral and you think, oh my God, I'm only about 5 years away from them.
Yeah.
And then you become to say, what am I doing? It's like, I should be out there enjoying myself just in case. Not to the point of just spend everything, because then
No,
you're
but
left with nothing.
making the
It's
most
like,
of, yeah.
yeah, just enjoy it a bit more. Enjoy it a bit more. There's no dress rehearsal. You're only going round once and you ain't coming back. Trust me, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's where the ownership of these assets and things comes into play. Because when you own assets and things, that you participate in that actual growth, as opposed to employees trading their time for money.
Yeah.
Your ownership actually builds equity, and that's
Yeah.
why ownership matters so much. If your business grows, you benefit. If your investments rise, you benefit.
If your
if you
business
sell,
goes down, you pay for it.
yeah, unless you've
So,
kind of
yeah. So you have to take on that risk, remember. So if your business goes down, you pay for it as well. It's easy to say you always benefit from the growth, you always benefit from the investment rise,
Mhm.
but who gets the hit if it goes the other way? You. So you're taking the
You need
risk.
to mitigate the
That's the
risk.
reason why it says for the majority of people, work your job, invest in a pension fund from
Mhm.
birth for your kids. If it's too late for you, do it for your kids or your grandkids. That's the most important point. Do it for your grandkids. for people that are saying it's too late for me, I'm now in my pension, or I'm just coming up from my pension, so I can't do any difference. You can't probably do any difference anyway, to be honest, because you need time on your side to do that. So get it done for your grandkids. Get a pension out from birth, or as early as you know. If they're 3 or 4, then get it done now. Get them a pension, get them UK equities or something like that, something that grows over time. It shows a track record that will grow over time and compound over the long term. That's the one for me, for most people. Yeah, it's great having a business, but you take all the stress with you as well. If your product sells 10,000 times more, then you're obviously you'll benefit as an owner. Ownership allows you your effort to scale beyond your time, so you're leveraging your time by having other people's time. So my time is actually everybody else's time in my businesses as well. That's what I'm leveraging it by. But then obviously it's like a bank. You then pay people a certain return in order to leverage that time, just like you do with a bank with their money. You leverage their money by paying them interest.
Interest, yeah.
Let's simplify the financial freedom forever then. Let's simplify this equation. What is it all about, Richard?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that complicated, and it is in simple terms. You have to have asset income, and it must be greater than what you are spending in living expenses. And that's about as simple as it is. If you're spending too much, then
that's it. It's that simple. It's like the amount of people that says, I've no got enough money at the end of the month. Well, what are you spending your money on? That's the first thing you should be saying. What are you spending your money on then? Spend less money. It's like people will say, it's like, I'm too big. It's like, stop eating so much crap then. It's the same thing.
That's the same simple thing, yeah. And that's entirely...
If your lifestyle costs $4,000 a month, your assets need to generate more than $4,000 monthly as well then. That's really what it comes down to, I would say. You've got to think about all these different things and think about where you are with that. And if you're spending more than that £4,000 a month in cost, then you've got to cut that back if that's all your assets are generating. So you've got to cut it back to that what the assets generate. But my thing is, for God's sake, do not immediately say, "Oh, I'm $4,000 a month costs. I'm now generating £4,000 a month. I'm going to leave," because then you'll not have anything to grow from there.
No, there's no
you'll not have any
there.
investments to grow from that because of that. So then you'll be stuck. So I got to a point where it was like I built enough, so I had a substantial amount over what my monthly costs were, in order so when I left, I'd still be able to reinvest in the business. That's the point. So see what happened when the credit crunch came along, when I opened my business and the credit crunch came along and wiped everybody else out, I was fine because I had my assets that produced my income. It wasn't my business. It was producing anything at all. I survived that way with nothing. I just worked for the last 5 or 6 years because of that, for nothing. But I had my money. But then look where I've managed to get to now as a result of that. I mean, we are officially 20 years old, our company. 20 years old, as of more or less today. 5 Properties has been going for 55 years.
Yeah.
Since 1971. 55 years as a brand. But we've had it for we've had it since 2012. But our company has been going since May 2006. That's when we started it. So it's amazing to think, and that's the whole point. And I never went to start this company, in all honesty. I never wanted to be in a estate agency. I never had any inkling of that at all. I just left. I was involved in property investment. That's fine. I took a year sabbatical in between, and then suddenly this appeared. Estate agency. And I thought, yeah, I quite fancy that. It's in property. I'm investing in it now. That makes absolute sense. I had a great estate agent I was working with, who's top sales agent, and I thought I could do lettings as well then. That was it. That's all it came down to. And it was like, screw it, let's do it. And that was the biggest lesson I learned.
that was a big risk.
I've been big-headed like that. And just going, I can make a success of everything. No, you can't.
I think you paid for a few mistakes at the beginning. by rushing in potentially.
What do you
But
think Richard Branson does? Where did Virgin Brides? Where is that now? It's no. Where is Virgin Makeup? It's no. Where is all the different things that he's failed at? It's not.
Virgin Cola.
Yeah, and that's okay, because the reality is his successes have been far greater than his failures. So that's why he's still a billionaire.
Yeah. So and then just to come back into the keeping your expenses lower than what your income and things are, you should really actually think to yourself about what your number is. What monthly amount would allow you to live comfortably without any stress, and and you need to think about that number and write it down and stick to that, and don't be vague about it, because your vague results can really, then they're not true, and you're not going to be able to stick to them. So be quite realistic and think about a number and stick to that ultimately.
Absolutely, yeah. Work then becomes optional when you find that figure and you've got enough income coming in to cover that. And it's not because you're quitting your ambition or anything like that. As I said, it's just that you get to the point where you think, I need to put up with this anymore, because there is days where we've all had these days where you're just like, I didn't want to go to work, can't be bothered. The sun is shining, it's beautiful outside, and it's like, and I've really got to go to work and sit in an office.
Yeah, I was
worse for me. It was worse for me because we had mirrored windows. So because there was the intensity of the sun came in, so they put mirror on the windows, and there was a wee crack at the bottom, and they never put anything on. So it was like every single day I saw these dark windows, looking outside, but then I saw this crack at the bottom with the normal window, and there was just beam of sunlight coming in. And I just used to look at that and go, God, I could be out there in that. Every single day that plagued me, that thing. It tormented me every single day, going, get it up, you wee bam pot. You're sitting in this office and the sun's out. That's all I heard. It's like, oh my God, I've got to do something about this. And it began to erode away at me. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's. I'm going to jump forward to the thought process and kind of actually designing your future, because as I said, it was freedom by design. That's what I titled today's show, and I think it's clear that we've made the we've identified that people kind of drift financially. The people do drift financially, but wealthy people do a lot of stuff with true intention. So there's a few questions I think that people need to ask themselves, and I put them in here. And the first one is, what does freedom look like? I think for yourself, everybody's different. What does your freedom look like? I mean, ultimately, the freedom to make choices and go places and experience things.
What does your freedom look like, Richard?
Well, for me, it would be...
He says folding his arms. And his judgmental approach.
It's ultimately, I would imagine, everybody's different, that it would be the same for everybody, but like the life you're living just now, Jim, and being able to make choices to go places without feeling restricted, spend time with family, and enjoy life and experiences that you need money to experience. And ultimately, that, for me anyway, I mean, people will be different, and people's level of what freedom is will be completely different in terms of the amount they need to achieve that.
For me personally, it was to the point where I could say anything I want and nobody could influence that.
Mm-hmm.
I would never be answerable to anybody ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That's, well, except Elaine.
I'll have to say that.
That's the exception. You're spending what? And it's like, oh, it's all right. But it's never having to ask for that permission again, I suppose. I mean, that to me is true financial freedom for a lot of people. It's like never needing to worry about that. And I think it's up to everybody just to define their own version of what they actually think. It'd be interesting to hear in the comments about, from someone who actually thinks, what is that defined?
What's their version of freedom?
Yeah, what's your version? What does it mean? And then your next question out of that is, how much is it going to cost?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how much is it going to cost? Every dream lifestyle has a number attached to it.
Yeah.
And that's the key. See, this is why you break it down. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and once you know that number, the impossible becomes actually measurable. It's measuring. It's actually understanding, because I knew when I got to certain levels I'd be able to do certain things. But even though I got to that level, I thought to myself, I don't need to do that anymore. I can just keep building.
I've got to do something and look further.
Because I thought I'll just get there quicker. It's like that. Oh, I'll get myself a brand new car when I get to this level, or we'll go out for lunch, or we'll go on a holiday when we get to this level. And I thought to myself, no, I'm not doing that, because I know if I put more in now, I'll get there quicker. And for me, it was all about speed to get there to that retirement financial freedom, that not answerable to anybody. That was important for me. And the biggest challenge for most people is they don't believe they can do it. Whereas I believed wholeheartedly I would become a millionaire.
Self-belief can be quite detrimental to anybody because a lot of people don't have it.
Yeah. And that's what holds them back most of the time. It's like it does work, and the pension thing does work. It we talked about at the very beginning. But most people won't do it because they don't believe it'll be possible for them, because they don't know anybody else that's done it. You're going to get a shock when my kids get to 55, 57, and then they retire as multimillionaires, because that's exactly what I've done with them.
I think it's safe to say that everybody in this day and age, if you don't have a good setup for when you're at a certain age, you're going to get a shock.
Yeah, because they're talking about doing away with the state pension already.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before that actually happens. So don't rely on anybody to look after you. This is what you've got to do. And but if it's too late for you, this is what you've got to do for your kids or your grandkids or your great grandkids. Do it for them. Get it into a pension. Don't give it to them now. Just get it into investments, so it invests and compounds for when they actually really need it. It will set them free later on, and they won't need to work till they die.
Yeah, which is such an important thing. But yeah, you're right. So asking yourself what your own freedom looks like, what the price of that, what number would enable you to achieve that. But how are you then going to obviously earn that amount? And that's when you need to think about what kind of assets you're going to build. What you need to think about is your strategy and where that all begins. It rarely does come from just one thing, Jim. You predominantly do property investment, but you do have other investments alongside that. You've got your businesses, you've got stuff in stocks and all the rest of it.
I'm pretty straightforward, and the reason why that is because I'm a specialist in the field. I'm a specialist in the field of my pension investment because I understand it completely, and I would say I'm probably one of the top 5% in terms of knowledge and expertise in that particular field for the investment in my pension. So I know exactly the ins and outs. I know how it works. I know the ongoing costs. I know how it appreciates. I know how the market works. I know what companies invested in. I know the companies themselves. So that's why I've done it. Okay, but it's an easy one. I don't manage it. It's managed by Standard Life. And it's them that look after it. I don't do anything else other than that. I just put money to them every single month. They invest in these top blue chip companies, and that's all they do for a low cost. And that's a fund they've got called UK Equities. That's what I do personally. Remember, investments can go up or down as well. So you take a risk, but over the long term, it's very, very rare to think that UK equities and the blue chip stocks like Diageo, like BP, like Glencore, like BAT Industries, anything will really majorly happen to them because they're the big conglomerates in their field, and they generate a huge amount of wealth. They're repeat purchase businesses, aren't they? Drinks, petrochemicals, all the rest of it. These will be around forever. These will be around forever. So that's why I'm there. And with property, I stick to boring residential lets. That's it. Buy, refurbish, rent. That's it. Buy, refurbish, rent. Buy, refurbish, rent. And then at some point in time, when the opportunity appears and there's blood on the streets and all of a sudden everybody's panicking, trying to sell off their property, I then can refinance because I've got a huge amount of equity built up in it over the years because I've just sat and waited. And then I've gone, oh, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, because I know what happens next. It goes up again. A recession only lasts about 18 months, by the way. Recessions only last about 18 months. And then it starts to lift again. You'll see that if you look up Google or you go into ChatGPT and say how long do recessions last and where's the bounce coming and all the rest of it. It'll tell you that's on average how long it lasts. So that's where the bounce comes, and then you get the huge equity upswing out of that, out of bailing other people out. Just the way it is. What other things do they come from then, apart from property and investments and pensions and stuff like that?
Yeah, so obviously your investments, you've got your businesses, you have property, like you say, you've got royalties on things if you have royalties attached to things that will pay you. Digital income, now that could be things like, as I said, affiliate marketing and things as well. You could have equity and something that's going to be paying you as well. And you could also go into partnerships and things. Be careful with that. Make sure you're going into partnership with the right people.
The right people, yeah. I mean, I was in partnership with somebody in the beginning who was absolutely a fantastic salesman, but he wasn't really financial literate. And I found that out the hard way. He just wasn't good at managing the money. It was like, then I looked at the accounts and went, oh my God, it's like, we're not doing that well. It's like, because we would spend so much money, the costs got out of control. But I was able to look after that and control that once I realised.
Once you picked up on it.
And the rest was history.
Yeah. But the key with anything is not to try and perfect it at the beginning, just get started.
Done's better than perfect every single day.
Yeah. You said
what would you say is the secret that most people ignore?
When it comes to investments and anything, I mean, say it's not really a secret, but it seems like it, but it's being consistent. Consistency is the key. Without any hype, without all the trends, and it's no overnight success. It takes time to just consistently do the same things, and it will be boring. And that's when a lot of people fail, because they shift to something else and leave the thing that was working.
They want the excitement. They've got in it for the excitement, so they get bored easily. That's the difficulty. These small actions that you're taking over the years, days, weeks, months, years, become life-changing over a period of time. As I said about the pension investment from birth for the 50 years, how it'll be a multimillionaire when your kids retire. But the small actions will be life-changing over these years, and it doesn't take much in order to do that.
Yeah, these small, consistent things, whether it be weekly investments or consistently growing your business, developing your skills, the network that you build, do that quite carefully and consistently. And even content and things that you're publishing, if you're putting stuff out there, educational stuff or things that you're putting out, do it consistently. And that's how compounding works.
Yeah. Eighth wonder of the world, according to the Oracle of Omaha, which is Warren Buffett. Eighth wonder of the world. And I would say it's probably the number one wonder of the world. Is compounding. It is probably the best thing you could ever do. Look at it when you apply compounding just even to your health, not monetary terms, your health. You make one wee change in your diet, one wee change in your exercise, and how that compounds over time because you're making that change for the better. So you make one wee positive change, like, I tell you what, I'll just go out and walk every day.
Yeah.
And then by a couple of years' time, you end up, I tell you what, I'll probably jog. Then after a couple of years' time, I tell you what, I'll probably run. And then it's like, oh, I fancy going in for this and I fancy going in for that. That's how you end up getting roped into marathons. Like me.
Yes.
And then you're going, oh, I think I could do the ultra marathon next. And then, oh, I think I can climb one of the highest peaks in the world. I can Quagga. And then it's like, I tell you what, let's have a go at the Everest ultra marathon.
That'll be a challenge.
Yeah, but if you'd seen that, if you'd done that in the very beginning, you wouldn't have got out your
well, you need to build up to that.
You'll only see the next opportunity when you're ready for it. So the whole point of your life is preparation for the next opportunity. I'll say that again. The whole point of your life is preparation for the next opportunity.
That's quite good. That is quite good. So, I mean, we'll try and round it off now because we are approaching the hour point. But as we do close up today, I think it's good to leave you guys listening and even ourselves, as well, myself anyway, to think about your future. And ultimately, your future is being built whether you design it intentionally or not. Your future's there. You just need to make it what it is. And that question you need to ask yourself is, are you building freedom for your future, or are you building dependency?
Mm.
And
That's
they are very different. And those three
Dependency
things
is obviously relying on the state completely and relying on everybody else to look after you when
for your
you
older age.
eventually retire. That is the problem. So this week then, so for this coming week, I think I want people to do three things.
Okay.
Define what freedom means to you. Calculate that freedom number, what that is, monetary terms.
Monetary terms, yeah.
Yeah. Define what it means to you, calculate what it is, and then decide which assets you'll begin to build that future.
In order to achieve it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not talking about everybody go, oh, I can't buy a house. Like, okay, so maybe go in with someone else and buy it. Joint venture with them if you can't do all yourself. Or maybe just wait a bit longer and then buy it. Oh, but I'm not going to earn enough. But in 3 or 4 years' time, if you've educated yourself enough and you've learnt enough and you've added value to what you do, you could get a better paying job. And then when you get a better paying job, you've got more income. Therefore, guess what? You can put more money towards your investments.
Yeah, because your income's based on your performance. And if you could enhance your performance, increase your income, you then have more to put into assets.
That's how I started. I started something like 6.5 grand, trainee accountant. I think it was 7.5 when I worked at Standard Life, but that was before that. But that was traveling to Edinburgh at the time. And then it was like 10 when I got to Tillis Russell. And then after Tillis Russell, a couple of years, it was 13. And then all of a sudden I left Tillis Russell and I was at 26 overnight with a company car because I had value. I had value because I'd learned all the way in my professional exams. I've been learning all the way. I've been doing other people's work, the financial director's work and everything and all the rest of it, and doing all these systems that actually added all the value to me within me. And I just kept where I was. So I was able to add all that value to me first and prepare. And then when the opportunity appeared, it's like, yeah, okay, I can jump that. I could double. I was able to double because of that. Because I'd stayed. Whereas some people would go, I tell you what, I'll jump up another one from job to job to job. And it's like, then you leave yourself in a really difficult position. And the fact that you're having to learn something new all the time. The things that actually, if you're concentrating on building wealth, the things that you probably you will take most of your time out is getting married, moving house, starting a new job, having children, getting divorced. So you want to, I'm not saying you want to avoid doing them, just be aware that they'll take the most time for you. And that's why I say to some people, and I said to some person recently when they were wanting to do something, I said, no, stay in your existing job. Because you know it's going to take a lot of time and effort to move to this other one. And then just build wealth from there. Add the value to what you're doing. Then you've built your wealth. Then you can move to another one. Keep your existing house. Or don't buy that big bloody massive house. Go and just stay where you are right now and invest the rest of that money in what you're doing to set yourself free later on.
Just to kind of round us off today, Jim, what would you say to anybody that was thinking about listening to us talking about this kind of freedom and thinking that it's a bit of a fantasy for them and they possibly couldn't achieve it?
It's your life is built by design, I would say, and how it's built is you build it a bit at a time. You're not trying to do big huge leaps. You're just trying to do small steps every single time. But this old adage about small acorns grow into giant acorn trees. Small acorns grow into giant oak trees, don't they? Yeah. And some will grow into giant oak trees and some won't. But that's why you do small things all the time, and some will actually give a huge return on what they're doing eventually. So, and it's done just that small, just by, I suppose it's just like done is better than perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's a decision. That's it. You just got to do it. And it's just taking these wee steps and decisions by decisions. And then once you're doing that, it's then obviously that then comes to the asset by asset as you're building. And that asset could be anything that we talked about. It could be stocks and shares. It could be digital content. It could be property. It could be pension. It could be anything like that. And the key is just to start today.
Yeah.
I can't. I just wish I was able to download what I've got in my mind about how it all works. And this is the only way we can do it. This is why we're doing this. It's how it all works. I was able to download it just so somebody gets it straight away and goes, oh my God, it's that simple. Flipping heck, I'm going to do this. And they know, they've got the belief now of me knowing full well that this is just a formulatic equation. It's just an equation. It's like investment multiplied by time equals wealth.
And what I take for when you're saying that about just do those small things bit by bit, piece by piece, decision by decision, because people tend to think of, I'm guilty of this myself, the bigger picture and then totally get analysis paralysis about it all, rather than just starting with something and doing that and just build on that. Have your goal and have where you want to be in your mind, but don't think about everything in between. Just do a day at a time.
Yeah. The worst thing to do is do nothing.
Yeah. At least do something. And like you say, start today.
Yeah, because you'll be exactly where you are right now in 5 years' time if you do nothing.
Yeah. And build ultimately that freedom by design. And the goal is not just to make money, it's to build something that you truly own.
Yeah, and then absolutely.
And ultimately that will come to become your freedom. And that's where we're going to wrap up today. I think that was quite good. Thanks for that, Jim. And thanks to everybody for joining in. Jump in the comments box, I'll come back to you. You could also come to me direct. My email address is in the blog attached. And we'll see you next time for the Welsh Creation Show, and we'll leave it there today.
Bye for now.
Thanks, Jim.